people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure most of you have heard by now that Scottney's historic, undisputed World Championship fight with Flores has been postponed.
What else can you say except that sucks?
Scottney's historic, undisputed world title fight with Flores has been postponed. Scotney, the unified WBC, WBO, and IBF Super Bantamweight champion, will become the youngest British boxer to ever fight for the undisputed crown when she does take on WBA champion Flores. They were due to box on the undercard of Jake Paul's exhibition with Gervonta Davis on November 14th, but with Scotney sustaining an injury in training, their fight will be pushed back. Both fighters and their teams remain committed to delivering this historic fight, and a new date will be confirmed shortly. It behooves Flores to stay on board and not make things difficult. Be a team player, because this is her biggest opportunity to not just fight for undisputed, but to make a decent purse, to make some money.
Just being WBA champion all by herself would only make her so much in the women's super bantamweight division, whereas the best money in women's boxing right now is boxing Scotney, is boxing with MVP. So she's being a team player, and she's smart to do it. So now they've scheduled Johnson versus Gaye in place of Scotney versus Flores.
After losing to Scotney in 2023, Shernika Johnson beat Nina Hughes 2 times before unifying 4 major titles against then-champion Sharita Metcalf. Johnson stopped Metcalf at MSG on the undercard of Katie Taylor's third fight with Amendia Serrano. Shernika Johnson is set to become Australia's first ever defending undisputed champion in the 4-belt era, while Canada's top bantamweight, Amanda Gaye, has the opportunity to make a global name for herself and become the first Canadian-born undisputed champion, said Nikisa Badarian, co-founder and CEO of MVP. Even with the short notice, this will be a non-stop, all-action fight with both fighters ready to make a statement and go to war on Friday, November 14th. We wish Scottney a speedy recovery and look forward to fully supporting her return soon as she continues her mission towards undisputed. Jake vs. Tank is a testament to fighters who are redefining limits and chasing greatness, and we look forward to making history together at the Casilla Center.
By my count, this would be the second snafu that Jake versus Gervonta has encountered. The first was having to move the fight from Atlanta, Georgia, over to Florida.
Now this, Scotney becoming injured and having to drop out, Shernika Johnson and Amanda Gaye having to stand in her place. This is what it means to be a promoter in the sport of boxing. Unexpected things are going to happen, and you have to roll with the punches. You have to adapt. The show must go on. I think that for what it's worth, MVP are doing a good job of that. Adapting.
Meanwhile, Catford's Scotney told Sky Sports, "All that matters is I win and I'm crowned undisputed champion. There's only been so many undisputed world champions, and it's something like that I've been chasing ever since I looked at boxing. I've got to be smart, but at the right time, press the fight. I know the best of me is just that." Scotney continued, "Not go to Catford and get involved too soon.
I've done it. Champion to champion to champion. I don't think many do it that way. I've never fought for a vacant title. Knowing you've got the final piece now, but you've earned every step, this is the most important and hardest one."
I agree with Ellie. Taking a head count of all the champions she's fought at 122 pounds, she won the IBF title from Shernika Johnson, the WBO from Sigolene Lafarve,
and more recently the WBC from long-reigning champion Yemi Mercado. Now all that's left to do is pry the WBA title from hard-punching, aggressive Mayeli Flores, and this may turn out to be Scotney's hardest fight, because what Mayeli lacks in form and function, she makes up for in ferocity, in persistence.
She's a pressure fighter who is very, very hard to discourage. Ellie has to find a way, presumably next year,
to work around the come-forward aggression of Mayeli Flores. She needs to be at 100% or as close to it as possible, because when the opening bell sounds, Mayeli's gonna dart out of her corner like a bat out of hell.
We don't know what the nature of the injury is. Is it a injury to her knuckles, a injury to a tendon, a ligament perhaps, a shoulder injury? We don't know.
They haven't said what exactly got injured, likely to not give Mayeli Flores anything to build upon. Don't let her know too much.
Don't give her anything that she can use.
Now, all we can do is wait for this fight to get rescheduled, as it really is the biggest fight of both Ellie Scotney and Mayeli Flores' boxing careers.
Got rid of that dude in just one round, which is impressive, but that dude won shit. Like, Boots after the fight, he had a lot to say about the whole division. He want to fight this person. He want to fight that person. He want to fight Bakram. He want to fight Fundora. He want to fight Virgil. He want to fight me. He want to fight Charlo. But why the fuck did you just fight Lima then? Feel me? Like, fight, like, out the gate. Come out the gate fighting one of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been more respectable in my opinion. When they it's not like a guy like myself. Like, I don't sit there and be like, let me go fight a guy like Lima, like for all the praise and to act like I'm the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the division. You know what I mean? I'm looking to fight Fundora again. I'm looking to fight Charlo again. I'm looking to fight Ramos. I'm looking to fight one of them dudes. And I know, look, I'm fighting Virgil Ortiz. Yeah. Like, check the resume, man. They do their homework. They sit in there and they go off of just like.
And so a growing number of individuals, Erickson Lubin included, are becoming more and more critical of Jaron Ennis because of the hype that surrounds him versus what he's actually doing. Who is he actually fighting?
I get it. I understand that.
Though let's be honest, Boots was never fighting anybody all that good to begin with. He wasn't doing that at welterweight. He's not really doing that now at junior middle. So if his quality of competition wasn't great then, and it's still not great now,
why'd they hype him up so much in the first place?
do you understand what I'm saying? That the hype around Boots, back when he was on Showtime, it wasn't warranted then. And even if it's not warranted now, why did you wait till now to notice? Why did you wait till now to start saying something about it?
Why?
It can't be because he's turned down fights since then, because when he was on Showtime and he was over there, he turned down a fight with Terrence Crawford.
Remember?
But people ignored that to keep putting him on a pedestal. He turned down a Crawford fight when he was on Showtime, and he's reported to have turned down a Virgil Ortiz fight now that he's on DAZN.
Because he said he wanted to unify the welterweight division, just to end up moving up anyway.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That the situation now is not that different from the situation back then. But back then, he was the darling of the welterweight division, and everybody was high on him. So why are they all of a sudden so critical?
Will you stop with the rhetorical questions and just come out with it?
I think the main reason so many people are taking shots at Boots now as opposed to before is because he signed to Matchroom. I think they liked him a lot better when he was on Showtime and Showtime was using him as the anti-Crawford. His quality of competition wasn't great then, and it's not great now. But back then, you didn't have so many people taking shots at him, whereas now, anybody from Rick Glacier to Erickson Lubin, they're all taking shots, and I think signing to Matchroom has everything to do with it. I said it back then, when he first signed, that signing to Eddie is going to make him enemies right away, because there are a lot of people that don't like Eddie, there are a lot of people that don't like Matchroom.
Rick Glacier.
And the fans who were holding out hope that Jaron Ennis would sign a deal with the PBC and be one of their fighters, they were left disappointed when he signed to Matchroom. I said it then. They're not happy about that.
So some of these people that are taking shots at Jaron Ennis are doing so because they have an ulterior motive. Oddly enough, Jaron Ennis has more marquee value now than he did back then. Back then when he was boxing on Showtime. Because since then, Eddie Hearn has brought him back to Philly not once, not twice, but thrice. And they've done robust numbers every single time. Believe it or not, in spite of this new wave of criticism that Boots is getting, he actually has more marquee value now than he did back then.
Than he did before.
So even if a lot of people chose a very convenient time to have a go at Boots, Boots is actually on the right track. Everybody's so critical of Luis Malima as an opponent choice.
You think Boots is on the right track?
I do. Now that he's popped his cherry and had his very first fight as a junior middleweight. Don't forget that he's also WBA interim champion now, in line to challenge Abbas Baru for his full WBA title. And don't forget that Abbas Baru is a network and promotional free agent right now, making a fight between him and Boots that much easier to make.
So you think he's on the right track?
I do. I think that Boots Ennis may end up fighting for an alphabet title at 154 before Virgil Ortiz. I think that could be Boots' very next fight. There's been a lot of talk about a Boots versus Ortiz fight.
And I've been skeptical, I'm still skeptical, as to whether or not that's going to be Virgil's next fight next year. If you ask me, I would sooner expect Boots to fight Abbas Baru in his next fight than Virgil in his next fight.
If you ask me.
If you ask me, I don't see that Ortiz fight materializing in the near future. What I can see is Boots fighting Abbas Baru, then unifying titles with Bakram Murtazaliev after that.
The mob is fickle, brother.
You're telling me. They may all be taking shots at Jaron Ennis right now, but if he goes from Lima to Baru to Bakram, it's a respectable run of fights. It's a respectable run.
It is.
From one champion to another. Nobody's doing that at 154.
Why are you so confident that they'll fight Bakram Murtazaliev?
Well, because it's easier to make a fight with Bakram Murtazaliev than it would be to get a fight with Sebastian Fundora, than it would be to get a fight with Xander Zayas. Bakram is relatively cheaper than those guys are. And I believe that if Boots Ennis fights Abbas Baru and beats Abbas Baru, he would then target Bakram Murtazaliev, because the other guys are too difficult to get to.
What about Virgil? What about Virgil Ortiz? If you don't believe that Boots versus Ortiz happens early next year, what does happen?
I don't think we're going to see Ortiz next. I'm being pessimistic. I don't think we see that next. I don't know if the powers that be are going to let that happen yet without letting it marinate a little more before the money can be humongous.
Virgil has been pretty clear that he wants to win a title. You know, he's beat Madrimov, he's beat Boachuk, and he's looking at Boots like, what do you have for me besides money? Like, what do you offer me? Like, Boots needs Virgil more than Virgil needs Boots. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that.
I don't. I actually think it's the other way around. I don't agree with most of what Dan and Chris said, except that the fight won't happen next. There I agree, but the other stuff?
That Virgil Ortiz has shown that he's serious about fighting for a title? Dan, he's been interim champion for over a year now. At any point in between now and the time he became interim, he could have put the pressure on Sebastian Fundora, and he didn't. He let Sebastian go fight Cordell Booker, then Tim Tszyu for a second time, now Keith Thurman.
So how could you say Virgil's serious about fighting for a title? It doesn't look like it.
He didn't put any pressure on Sebastian Fundora. They don't want to fight Bakram Murtazaliev. Robert Garcia already said that. Due to the IBF's rehydration cap, they're not going to target that belt. And the stuff with Xander, that was all just for show.
It's not how you make a fight. They did that for the optics. Bottom line, I don't think Virgil is serious about fighting for a title. I think Boots is more serious about fighting for a belt at 154 than Virgil and his team.
So I don't agree with Dan on that. And I don't agree that Boots needs Virgil more than Virgil needs Boots. Have you been looking at the numbers? Boots has drawn at or around 10,000 people to his fights in Philly ever since Matchroom took him back there. This past weekend, he drew about 9,000 people to that Uisma Lima fight. Is Virgil drawing those same-sized crowds?
Is he about to with Erickson Lubin? This is a numbers game after all, so the numbers will tell the story. And if Virgil ain't fighting in front of 10,000 people, I don't think that Boots is the one that needs him. I think it's the other way around. I think Virgil's the one that needs a big fight because he's been at junior middleweight for well over a year now, for 4 going on 5 fights.
Still ain't fought for a title.
Where I agree with Dan and Chris is that the Virgil Ortiz fight will not be next. There, I'm skeptical. So what I see being next for Boots is the Abbas Baru fight, meaning Boots may become a champion at this weight before Virgil.
So who needs who?
Because Boots just wrapped up a guy in a round, and because Abbas Baru is a network and promotional free agent, making the fight between them for early next year should be relatively easy.
So who needs who?
And while Boots is over there with Baru, what is Virgil Ortiz going to be doing? Who is he going to be fighting? Is he finally going to fight for a title? They're making it seem like Virgil has more options than Boots does when it's actually the other way around. Some guys, you can already rule them out. You can already rule out Bakram Murtazaliev for Virgil Ortiz, and in some ways, we're already ruling out Boots for Virgil Ortiz. So who does that leave him with? Sebastian Fundora, who's still tied to a Keith Thurman fight.
Xander Zayas, who's still tied to a homecoming fight in Puerto Rico.
I don't think Virgil's the one with all the options. I think that Boots is the one with all the options. They can get Baru, they can get Bakram Murtazaliev, then maybe spin the block for a Virgil Ortiz fight, provided that Virgil Ortiz is still there at 154. 2 fights from now, you never know.
2 fights from now, he might decide to go to middleweight.
Addressing the elephant in the room, Virgil Ortiz may have more time in at 154 than Boots, but Virgil Ortiz is not the A-side fighter to Boots. You've been there for over a year, and you still don't have a belt.
So you ain't got a belt. Do you at least sell more tickets than Boots? Can you sell 9,000, 10,000 tickets with your fights? Because if you can't, then what the fuck makes you the A-side?
What's supposed to? Back over to Boots, who people are very critical of right now in the moment. But all that can change in 1 or 2 fights. If he beats Abbas Baru for the WBA title, becomes a 2-weight world champion, then moves right into a Bakram Murtazaliev fight.
You seem to have a lot riding on that Bakram Murtazaliev fight.
That'll be the proving ground, and send the strongest message to the rest of the junior middleweights. No one at 154 is in any hurry to fight Bakram Murtazaliev. So if Jaron Ennis does in a unification match,
sends a strong message.
no, he won't fight him straight away, because if he were to fight Bakram straight away, he would be subject to the IBF's rehydration cap. If he picks up a belt first, the WBA title, then goes to unify it with Bakram, there's no rehydration cap. Now look at how much Bakram Murtazaliev has struggled to land an opponent since the Tim Kazoo fight, since the Tim Kazoo win. They are laboring just to get a goddamn Josh Kelly fight. This guy...
They still haven't announced it. You know that shit still ain't made. My opinion, it's not gonna be.
Making a fight with Bakram Murtazaliev might turn out to be easier than making a fight with Abbas Baru. Think about that, and think about how Boots Ennis could turn out to be the first unified champion among this cycle of junior middleweights.
Think about Boots' style and what he does and doesn't struggle with. Think about that. Aggressive fighters like Abbas Baru, like Bakram Murtazaliev, and like Virgil Ortiz. These are the guys that actually make Boots look good. Those are the fights where he looks at his best. It's with boxers, it's with movers and jabbers.
It's with those guys that he struggles, not aggressive guys. He goes in there, he knocks off Baru and Bakram. I think a lot of people are going to change their mind about Boots, and those fights are entirely possible. So, they may be critical of him now,
taking shots at him now. But we all know that the mob is fickle in boxing. They blow hot and cold. They may hate you yesterday, but they'll love you tomorrow. All he's got to do is keep winning. And I think he can.